So my name's LaMara Davidson. I was born in New York, Albany, New York. I was raised pretty much a little bit of everywhere. We moved from New York to Illinois and lived in the Quad Cities until I was about 10. And then my parents were separated, and my mom and my sisters and I moved to Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta until I was like 24, 25. I moved to San Francisco for a couple of years, and then I moved to New York for several years, over a decade. I feel like I did my time in New York. And then I came back to Atlanta. I got my culinary degree because I'd been cooking for 10 years at that point. I'm like, okay, I've obviously really committed to this. Let me just get a degree in it. And that's at that time I started working in hotels. My earliest memories really with cooking with my mom is just when I was young, when my mom would have, because my mom didn't really, it wasn't really like that. I didn't grow up cooking in the kitchen with my mom every day. It was more like, because it was more like when we had family over, that's when the kids were allowed, because it would be so much food that was being prepared that we got to peel the garlic. My father, actually, he cooked certain dishes, right? He made great spaghetti, which took all day long. All day, like, yeah. You know, he was just super extra. My father is like, I'm very much like how my father was, like kind of loud and like hyper, you know what I mean? Loves, you know, just kind of, I guess my father was eccentric, I would say that. Right now, I'm here at Hambidge working on my book, my memoir cookbook, which I've never written a cookbook or a memoir, obviously, but I'm getting more and more excited about it, and I'm glad that I've taken my time with it. I did 1 week of my artist residency in February, and I decided how, because I didn't even know how to begin. And so with food, everything is memory, right? The smell, like the feeling, you know, the sensation. Like, so I just started thinking about my food journey. Like, what do I want to share? Like, what is this book really for? And the recipes are basically, not all of them, but a lot of the recipes are based off of my cooking journey, like from the very beginning, like how I started cooking, why I started cooking, who I cooked with. So you get meals that, like family meals, family recipes that I'm gonna share, as well as family meal recipes. I'm working over like all the years, it's 20 years working in restaurants with people from all over the world. I've learned really incredible, authentic dishes. Cornbread and kimchi represents, you know, of course I do Southern American food and I do traditional Korean food. Sometimes I mix things, but this memoir and cookbook is really like cornbread and kimchi and everything in between. You know, part of my purpose, I know now, is really just that, to bring it together and like, hey guys, we're all the same. You know, I promise you, we like to eat the same food. I don't care where you come from, who raised you, what your background is. So I'm very excited about sitting here in this window and writing, because that is not my process normally. I usually, when I create, or as far as developing recipes and things, it's always like after 10 p.m. I don't know what it is. It's just like I can't be creative or like new ideas usually don't come to me, you know, in the middle of the day, unless I'm in it. But now it's just like, oh, I mean, the beauty, are those lilacs? I think those are lilacs. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just the beauty outside my window. There's actually art and God's art, you know? So I have so much to be inspired by. And it's so calm. Like, it's so calm. There are like 4 other writers that are here with me this week, and they're experienced and accomplished. So that was just like, for me, it was like God's gifts. Like, okay, we're gonna keep blessing you. Like, these are the people that, for the time, you know, what you're here for. It's just like they can maybe, you know, give you some inspiration. And truly, in the first day that I've already been inspired by one of the writers and helped me get some structure.
Thinking about that with your memoir, you were asking if the question of like, what people are going to get out of it. Like,
Yeah.
like how it's going to affect people. Like, what is your goal? Do you have a goal yet? Because you don't have to. But do you have an idea of like what you want people to learn or experience or like get out of like hearing your story?
I want them to know it's never too late.
Mm-hmm.
I also want people to understand that everybody's story is important, you know? And how you get to where you're going is really, I have found the real, that's where the magic is. Like when I was like, okay, I need to really fully live in my purpose. I was furloughed from as the corporate chef. And when they called me back, I was like, nope, I'm not coming back. I need a year to see if I could do this. And so Marriott International called me and were like, hey, we want you to do an artist residency for 5 weeks of cornbread and kimchi at the Ritz-Carlton in Naples, Florida, on the golf course. What is that? You know what I mean? So it's been 3 years that I've been able to use my gifts to be able to create this life for myself. So. I think like right now in my life, I'm expanding in such a way that you feel it. It's like growing pains. You know, it can be overwhelming. You know there's a shift happening and a change is happening. You're just like, okay, just take a breath. You're ready. It's all good. You can write this book and tell your story.
So one of the things that I think is really helpful is when you have that really central idea, that like central insight that took you so many years to really figure out.
Yeah.
Then that's going to be kind of like your guiding star. So like every scene in the memoir, have that kind of like, I put it on my wall, what my central insight is. And then every time I write a scene or a chapter, I want to make sure that like, if it's about your relationship with your ex-husband or it's like the first time you remember like eating food with your family, that like that idea is in there somewhere.
Okay.
You know?
Ooh, that was a little nugget. Little like gold dust, maybe a little fairy dust. My memoir cookbook, you know, and I've been told by a publisher, well, you're supposed to write a cookbook first. You shouldn't really do both, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what my spirit is leading me to do. I want them to get a few things. I want the reader to get really great recipes. There are some that are going to be complex, like the mole. But there's also, you know, very simple meals that'll be in there. I want them to feel confident about cooking dishes that they thought they'd never be able to make. I also want them to get that it's never too late, you know, and we're not as different as ones want us to believe we are, you know. So it's just like, it's never too late. You know, good food is good food. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It's not where you land, it's how you get there, you know? And I'm like, when I talk to people, and I realized when I worked at Marriott, I realized then how powerful my story was just for like, a lot of the students, I would get students from all over the world. And still, like, I don't have any children, like biological children, but I have daughters and sons all over the world that I'm still in contact with, that are like inspired by just watching me like, wow, chef, we're so happy that you're doing all these things, you know? Like outside of us, like, nope, I'm gonna do this on my own. And I've been able to, you know, it's been 3 years now, and I'm, you know, at first I was like, oh, I should be here now, or I should do this. And I was like that for a while, and I get in those pockets, you know what I mean? We get like, but the time here helps me be like, ugh. My goal has always been to get my sauces and food on shelves in the grocery store. So I would like in 1 year from now to have at least one of my product lines in a national grocery store.